Thank you. I got the invite from Sylvia to come and talk with the group here on Vision 2020 updates, what we're doing now and sort of where things are headed for as we quickly approach 2021. It's been a challenging year. I don't have to tell everybody that. So one thing I'm going to do is share my screen. What I want to do is sort of provide some updates on the Vision 2020 project, where things are headed. We've got some really exciting stuff coming in, in the pipeline that will be coming out later this year. For those that aren't, anybody out there that is not familiar with Vision 2020, if you could just give me a wave. Which I don't see. So most are, and we've actually got some of the analytics to sort of prove that here. We've done a couple surveys of late. We've done also some surveys of the folks through some polling questions at the Symposium. We'll talk about that coming up here at the end. But Vision 2020, we've been around for a dozen years now. Those early days, those groups, those legacy folks that were in with the project have started to retire. So we sort of saw some new leadership this year. I took over for Jim Crawford at the end of last year, and we've worked very collaboratively with a lot of our steering committee partners, 26 different steering committee partners. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see some of those. I see some of those folks on the call here. IAAF, IFC, specifically the Fire and Life Safety Section, the NFPA, the USFA, and a number of others. So these folks work tirelessly to bring you a lot of this information on community risk reduction, work collaboratively on projects that we have or they have as well. We work with them. I know our educational group, our Strategy 2 group, is really now a focused effort between EMAC and the USFA, the NFPA, as well as our folks. So everything that we're putting out, from an educational standpoint, all vetted by that group, and we'll discuss some of those things moving forward here. But with the focus for us with Vision 2020, obviously identifying gaps and challenges to implementing CRR across the United States. When you think about that, just a crazy thing to try to measure. We'll talk a little bit about the new statewide collaboration engagement framework that we're moving towards to meet that challenge head on. So everything, again, that Vision 2020 provides, the tools, the training, the guidance document, expertise, TA support through subject matter experts, everything we do is free of charge to the fire service and beyond. So the one thing I want to talk about a little bit is our 6 strategies that we have. With the 6 strategies, these were developed early on. And the first one, advocacy, focuses on advocacy for community risk reduction and fire prevention from outside the organization. So that's those local government officials, and that's those folks that fire chiefs lean on to try to get support for CRR efforts in their organization. Outreach and education, again, those identify those critical messages that we have, and more so vet them. So the things that you see coming out, that's all research-based information. This stuff isn't created off the cuff, and I think that's an important piece. When we use sort of research to identify those topics and how we message them. The culture, strategy 3 is culture, and that's really addressing the fire service culture, in the organization. That's important to what the long-term impacts of CRR are to the fire service. The technology group, and I'm not sure if I got any technology group folks on here. We had a great call with them yesterday. You know, those people are out there really identifying that next level of stuff that's coming down. We focus a lot on cooking fire safety, heat limiting technology. There's new technology coming out for, you know, gas stoves as well. So that group really focuses on what's happening, you know, what's happening out there and how is that going to impact, and more so, how do we interface with this cross-pollination between strategy 4 technology and that strategy 2 outreach and education. That's an important piece to really put those two groups together to make sure we're messaging the right stuff at the right time. Codes and standards, and that has really run its course for you know, for what the Vision 2020 looked at it for. It's really promoting fire operations folks to get involved in the codes process. So the IAAF has really taken that head on to try to engage, you know, fire service operations personnel to get more involved in the codes process. So again, model performance was the last one there. Really, that's one that was added, you know, a couple years into it, because the need was seen that we need to measure what we're doing, measure the effectiveness to prove our salt when it comes to community risk reduction. When people ask you, why are you doing this program? The answer comes from your community risk assessment as well as your plan, you know, identifying those mitigation strategies, putting them together in there, but also measuring, you know, going back and evaluating your process, evaluating those other pieces to create model programs. So this year we went through a strategic planning process. It's something Vision 2020 has never done. We looked at those 5-6 strategies actually, and looked at a long-term 5-year plan. So we brought together a branding and marketing task force. We realized that we're very good at creating these things, identifying gaps, and putting together solutions. And the solutions got out. We've done a fantastic job at sort of meeting the grant deliverables over time. But on the backside of that, there's people that didn't know about Vision 2020. When we talk to folks at the National Fire Academy, or we talk to folks out when we're presenting, at times there are folks that don't know who we are, and we need to fix that. And so we brought together a group of very talented people to look at branding and marketing of what we do. We've developed new mission, vision, and value statements for Vision 2020 that really align well with you know, those goals, missions, values of these steering committee partners. They were a part of this process. It literally took us 4+ months to get through this strategic planning process virtually. So we're coming up with a new logo, folks. This stuff will drop first of the year. We thought about it and said, you know what, new year. It's not 2020. We don't do anything in 2020 because we're not sure what's going to happen. You know, something crazy happens every day. So first of the year, you're going to see some changes and find out more about our new mission, vision, and values as we move forward. You know, one of the things that we discussed in that strategic planning process was to have a more holistic approach towards CRR from a discipline level. You know, not all about fire. And that's okay. I think you've seen some of this occurring, especially those that have attended maybe a symposium or two prior to this, you know, where earlier ones were very focused on simply fire. And now you see that we're branching off into many different aspects, more specifically EMS more than anything. So what's new? Where are we with grant deliverables? What's happening on the front? I can say this. So I want to share these updates for these new animations that came out. Some people may have seen this with the social media posts that came out. I'll just let it run for a few minutes or a few seconds here. So again, these animations came out. They were dropped just in time for Fire Prevention Week, and it was again, I want to say just a multifaceted effort from all these folks from the USFA, EMAC, and other groups that helped review these things and really get all those details down to what you're seeing to have a very vetted message. So these are available for download. They're for use for your social media accounts. One thing we found out was a lot of people, because we looked at the analytics from Facebook, a lot of people were just sharing what we put out there. We didn't intend that to be the purpose. I think a lot of the what you see was the goal was to let people sort of run with it. We know the educators are a very the group of folks just have a lot of energy and tend to want to go in a whole bunch of different directions fast. We figured this would provide a great venue for them to do that. Again, these are located on the materials generator. We made some changes to that. We actually had a survey go out. We just reviewed a couple days ago specifically regarding the materials generator. So I'm not sure. Some of the feedback we got was, well, I looked at it before and it was a little cumbersome. Well, over time, we've continued to develop these different topics on the materials generator. Many people didn't know or didn't realize those topics existed out there. To look at this from a more holistic approach. So when we look at the materials generator and go in there, there's now topics for fall prevention, of course, home safety visits. There's information on installing, placing smoke alarms, preventing unwanted alarms. There's things for rental properties, cooking safety, and safety messages for kids. So this has grown considerably for some that may have not seen it in a while. Extremely easy tool to use. You simply click on the topic you want and select. In this case, I selected, senior falls, and you'll see from the information there, most everything is editable on here. We made it so your organization can easily brand the material to your department. You can put your logos in here. You can add your fire department name, your website information, your phone number. You can even change some of the messaging on the bottom. You can change the picture. So in this case, this may not be a picture that works well, in Texas. You may want more, more diversity in. You can take your picture. Probably the best thing that I've heard of was Deanna Harrington. Most people know Deanna from Arvada. Was going out to a senior living facility, and she went out there and asked the folks, listen, who's the people here that sort of are respected by the group? And they said, oh, this couple right here. So she went and said, do you mind if I take your picture for a flyer? And so she took their picture, came back and put it on the flyer, came back a couple days later to give a presentation there. When she handed out the flyers, they had pictures, the picture on there with the people that obviously that were there at the facility knew the folks that were in the picture. So just a fantastic application there. And I think what you'll see is, this is something that will continue to grow. We'll continue to add new topics here moving forward. Unfortunately, we need to get together a body of folks to sort of make that decision on what is that new topic and how do we put together the messaging that is that goes along with it. So it's not a simple process. We can't just sort of add things on the fly here. These things are all pretty well thought out and take probably 6 months to a year to implement to a new topic. So some of the other things that we have that are still out, there, due to the pandemic, with the grant cycle, we had one-day workshops that we were offering. Of course, due to the lockdown, due to travel restrictions, I couldn't, thinking about this, couldn't ask instructors to go out and teach people across the country. I just couldn't put anybody in that position. So right now, we do still have these opportunities available. We have seen things free up a little bit, with some of the ways that classes are being handled right now. We did deliver a workshop in the state of Illinois in August, and we were able to sort of couple that with another class I'll talk about here in a minute. But the 10-day workshop are really sort of an introduction or a refresher to CRR. So there's a lot of different topics that are discussed there. We go through that 6-step planning process, within CRR, help folks understand, what risk is, and more so understand the difference between prevention and mitigation. Those are pretty straightforward topics, but many times we have a turnover in different organizations or in different locations within the state. It's always good to continue to offer these classes. I think they provide a lot of good insight to folks to understand really what that principles and practices of CRR are. So again, we're working to schedule these free workshops at locations across the country. If you're interested in hosting one, we have a few things that we like to ask for the host that, obviously they provide the venue, but if they could provide some, some drinks and some light refreshments for folks. Certainly don't have to provide lunch. We take a lunch break there as long as there's somewhere close to for them to get lunch. So those are available, and we'll continue to sort of schedule them, and hopefully things will change from a COVID standpoint here in the coming year, and we can get those knocked out. The next piece is a Youth Fire Setter introductory course, and this is a class that is being developed right now and will be available. We're about to take a look at the draft of it, but it'll come available in late November, early December at the latest. It will be hosted on IFSTA Resource One, along with a number of other courses that IFSTA hosts for Vision 2020. And this is a joint collaborative effort between the National Fire Academy, Vision 2020, IFSTA, and Oklahoma State University. So exceptional, program that really focuses on introductory course level work. This would be a great course to deliver to your organization if you have a smaller organization. So everybody has an understanding. This is really not for Youth Fire Setter program development, but it gives more of an oversight into what the problem is and how it can be better recognized by folks, especially in the field. So this is a really good introductory course that I think will see some impressive reviews when we get it out there. The next piece is one we're very excited about. It's the new data collection and analysis, a DCA class. Matter of fact, I talked to Sylvia about this prior. This actually came out of this presentation, or this class came out of a couple presentations that were developed for Texas State Fire Marshals. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right, Sylvia? She's shaking her head. Yeah. So it's a 2-day offering, and what we see with this class, it's specifically designed to focus on that data collection analysis as it pertains to your community risk assessment. So this is something that is quite different. It represents a very intentional and specific change in our training design. One thing that we've looked at, we've understood for many, many years, is we've created guides and put the guides out there. We've created training to tell people, you know, about risk assessments and their importance. And with the guide, the information, many people thought, well, this is, you know, here's the information they need to get this done. Lo and behold, the end result was still looking at about 20% of fire departments that we talk to have a risk assessment of some, and that risk assessment may not even be complete. So this really helps folks get over the data hump. You know, that heavy lift of making sense of their incident data. You know, when we see this, a lot of times we'll hear a plethora of things that deal with data. We hear the groans, we hear the moans, people saying our data is terrible. Well, I just had this discussion on a previous Zoom call about 45 minutes ago. I said, you know, when we look at this, what we find is at the highest levels, firefighters are getting this right. They're getting it right. You know, there will be gaps, there will be holes you will find in your data that you will want to plug. But for the most part, when they go to a fire, folks, they are putting it down that they went to a fire. There's obviously some things in there that you can get better at. They will pop out when you start to look at it through this class. But the biggest thing that we found was incorporating this, what we call the DCA template. And with this template here, really the course is designed to work around this template. It provides time to work within the class time to develop your CRA. So in 2 days, you come there with your laptop, you come there with Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel on your laptop, and 2 days later, you will walk out with a community risk assessment that is 90% complete. For us, folks, that's measurable. That really changes the game when it comes to risk assessments. And I think this is something that was solely needed. When we looked at the missing link, it was really this template that was designed and put in there. You know, these risk assessments, typically people walk out and they're probably somewhere between 15 and 20 pages, and they're getting them done in 2 days. You know, what we see is for somebody to type a 15 or 20 page document, looking at guidance documents to try to figure out what it literally would take them months. And no wonder why people sort of stalled. They got to a point and they said, well, I just don't know how to do this. This takes all that away. It helps folks sort of walk through that. This is actually a template. This was used here in Illinois when the class was last delivered there as a pilot, and really hit home. So I think this is something that's very exciting. You'll see this. We expect this to be probably one of the frontline classes that we will produce moving forward here for 2021 and possibly beyond. So again, you know, our focus, when I look at strategy 6 there of model performance, we try to walk the walk. We try to say, listen, this is something that works, but we're going to measure to figure out, you know, does it work or not? And that is truly important for us in Vision 2020. So the next piece here is upcoming. Again, this is something that'll probably roll out again in late November. What you're looking at is a risk application. It's a map-based application that looks at incidents per fire incidents per capita. It also has EMS incidents as well. There's demographic information. This can really help we realize it's a little rudimentary now. We are already talking about some upgrades to this and have discussed this with a number of states, and we'll get into that in a minute, to make this product even better. So map-based application using GIS that brings in fire incident data from across the United States. You can simply click on a state and it'll provide you the information at a state level. We'll look at that in a second. But it also, if we look at it on a national scale, it gives us a better understanding of, where these pockets are of fire incidents per capita. And, the darker colors here that you're looking at on the map are obviously where there's, higher incident rates. So this is a very exciting tool. When I drill down, here's a look at a per state. So I'm looking at the state of Illinois here. When I click on the state of Illinois, it also brings up the information that goes along with it. So it's not just visual, it has this information for the state of Illinois. And I can't see what it said there because I have my window in the way. Let me see if I can move this. So the 14.9% of the reported fire types in the state of Illinois are building fires. Obviously, cooking fires contain to container 11.7. Now, remember, folks, when we look at the data, that doesn't mean that cooking fires is not the top problem within the state. Sometimes cooking fires are obviously labeled as building fires when they grow. So passenger vehicle fires. So it gives us a good look at what's going on in the state. It gives you the top incident actions taken. So extinguishment by fire service personnel, 21.5. It also, if I went down and drilled down even further, it tells us where they're occurring. What occupancies are these occurring in? So very, very interesting from a state level. I'll go one further. Here we're going to look at, this is Kankakee County in the state of Illinois, and it drills down. Of course, you can drill down to provide the same information on a county level. Gives you the same information. One further, this is looking at a census tract in Evanston, Illinois, which is in Cook County. And it talks to the figures, the data figures that go along with that census tract. So this also works for those fire protection districts where you need to sort of add up the pieces to make the whole when it comes to a fire protection district where it doesn't follow municipal boundaries. So very exciting. We're actually working on naming it right now. I probably hear Ed laughing in the background. So another thing I just want to say is I forgot to mention this right out of the gate. Congratulations to Vision 2020 Communication Manager Ed Camo for his being the recent recipient of the Ann Phillips Award for Fire Service Education Excellence, Leadership in Fire Service Education. So just very prestigious award. Congratulations. I see a couple hearts popping up there on the screen. So Ed does a great job, very dedicated person. We're really lucky to have him. So I want to roll forward. Now, I know probably many of the people on the call don't work on a state level. They're probably working on an organizational level. But I want to talk to you a little bit about Vision 2020's newest program. This really just dropped about 3 weeks ago. This is our statewide collaboration engagement framework that has been just sort of redeveloped into the program that it is today. So when we look at what the program's all about, you can go to strategicfire.org /SCEF, SCEF, and to look at the program documents and associated matrix with this program. So what I want to say is I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the SCEF here, and to try to let people know and understand what we're doing. Even if you're not working on a statewide level, doesn't mean that you probably don't have some connections within your state to gain momentum for this. So looking at the program right now, we initially had 11 states working in the program. Some of them were early states that we had worked with for many years. We call them high-risk states of, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, West Virginia, South Carolina. And we started to add some newer states to the process as well. So we're working through adding, Tennessee's working to add Tennessee, Michigan, Illinois, Colorado, and Washington. That brings us out to about 11. Our goals here with the program are to push that out to 22 states by the second quarter of 2021, which is quickly approaching. Right now in the pipeline, we do have 19 states in the pipeline. So we're quickly approaching that goal. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll meet, our goals there. Then following that, 1 year later, very aggressive plan to add another 22 states within the next year. So the reason for the phase-in approach is to help our TA group sort of take the time to, understand and move these folks and get them on a good path when we start to bring some others in. So what the SCEF does, what this really does is look at adopting collaborative approach to statewide CRR efforts. So why is that important to you who may work in an organization? Well, if you work for an educators group or you work as a fire inspector and you're part of the State Fire Inspectors Association, we want you folks at the table. This really builds by adding all the disciplines within the fire service. So fire and life safety educators, inspectors, investigators, firefighters, right? The Firefighters Association, the state fire chiefs, the state fire marshal, all those groups together helps us to build a very engaged group that works on the process of sustainability. I think we all know here what happens when somebody new takes over, right? And they come in, they have different ideas, or say, that's not something that we want to continue to focus on. This is it's harder to do when we're in a group, a very diverse and inclusive group with all voices within the fire service, within the state. It's harder to just walk away, and that's our goal here, to help build the strength into that and bring that forward. When we look at this on a national level, this really helps support that goal of integration of CRR principles and practices. We talked about that earlier, and when this came out, this went through a 9-month strategic planning process with our TA group, and we wiped the slate clean. Said, you know what, we've done this work for a number of years. If we wanted to change it, if we wanted to make it better, how would we do that? And this is what we came up with. The SCEF really helps to build inclusivity, right? So every group within the fire service has a voice at the table, an equal voice. It's very important. When we look at the integration of CRR principles and practices across the United States, that if you look at the complexity of that problem or that goal, it's just mind-boggling. How do you measure that? That's one thing that drove me crazy. Well, the easy way is to break that down into 50 smaller pieces. And this is what the SCEF does. It really helps to see where we can get momentum and get some measurable efforts within a state. So when we do that, we're able to look at it from a regional approach as well, and then from a national scale. When we do that, folks, when we get those 50 states together in this SCEF, looking at new emerging issues, COVID, pandemic, I don't care, you name it, rioting, all sorts of things, wicked problems in the fire service that we continue to have. and also support legislative efforts that benefit the fire service on a national level. These are important things sort of moving forward. One thing we find from the benefits to the states, gaining that greater understanding of the fire problem in their state. Many of the folks don't have risk assessments on a statewide level. That's okay. That's what we're there to help. We're providing that guidance in providing that expertise to help get that done. Just ability to bring that narrative out. What's a narrative? And bring it to different stakeholder groups successfully. And I don't care if it's groups within the fire service in the state. I don't care if other stakeholders, to the governor's office, you name it. But to get that message out, why CRR is important to the fire service. And again, being on the front end, this is as proactive as it gets, folks. Bringing all those groups to the table to have these discussions. Again, we're not changing our focus. Our goals are certainly the reduction in fire loss, fire injuries, and fire fatalities. But also, this has the players in place when you build those relationships to react to new things that are happening. So if this interests you at all, I would suggest you go to strategicfire.org SCEF. There's a contact us form there that you can click on. Say, hey, listen, I just want more information for my state to send it to the right people. We have additional spots right now. We have a next phase in spots that are available as well. Some of the incentives that we're providing for these folks, we always find it beneficial when we incentivize people to do things. We can help them move in the direction, facilitation, group planning, goal setting, having difficult discussions. That's what we're there to help with. We realize that there's probably some abrasive relationships within the fire service, maybe within the state. That's what we're there to help with, to help get people moving forward and focused on the larger goal here. Providing technical expertise, especially with that CRA and the CRR plan, providing tools, training, additional materials. What we like to see is that Illinois, what we call the sort of Illinois plan, where Illinois IFSI is the state training arm for the state of Illinois. They wanted to deliver CRR classes. They said, well, we need to go out and develop these. And we said, listen, here's our classes. We will package them. They're prepackaged. Take them. You deliver them. We'll provide a train the trainer. We'd love to do that with every state that's out there. And it helps get those delivered on a local level to the folks that need it the most. So we also provide smoke alarms to these states. Now, we're not backing 18-wheeler trailers up with smoke alarms. I wish I could. We'll figure that out. Maybe Jeff Bezos will come through for us, or I'm not sure, but certainly he's got enough money to do it. So we're looking, I think, again, to incentivize states to move forward with the SCEF. Again, if you're interested, it is something I think that would really benefit a number of states out there to help move them forward. And it's a very simple process. Again, we sort of sit down with this matrix, identify where the state is, with the resources, political landscape, and all those things, and identify a tier. And there's 5 tiers in the matrix. And our goal isn't to get you to that tier 1 in 4 months. Our goal is to move you from where you are to the next tier. And we do that through very specific, smart goals and objectives, things that are time-bound, things that are measured, that help you as a state be successful, as well as help my TAs be successful. I think that's critically important, to move forward. So again, the tier 1 is that aspired state where, they've got it going on. We've got some states that are very close to tier 1, and we hope to get them there shortly. So moving on here, I will try to wrap up here so I can get about 15 minutes of question and answer in. But Symposium 6 webinar, that will drop here in November, early November. And that is really a review of Symposium 6 that was held this year in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So I won't give all the details away, but we'll talk about, you know, some of the great model programs that we brought to, you know, to that symposium through a peer review process. The Symposium 6 was the largest symposium that we've had. We had 350 attendees. It was just an incredible event. We've got some great feedback on here. Some of the other things you'll learn at that Symposium 6 webinar is really gaining a better understanding of model performance. And you know, this isn't rocket science, folks. It is something to take measured steps. You're thinking about these things anyways. Why not capture them on paper and put your program in to be reviewed as a model program? I think most people will be able to understand that. Very simple process when we look at, you know, identifying the risk, you know, capturing that information through a risk assessment to identify what you did. The process that you did it is very simple. Why did you do the steps, you know, you did to create your program? So the impact there as well. You know, the outcome, we typically give people a little, you know, a little break on the outcome side because it does take time to get that. So, but the impact certainly is something that we need to see. One thing I want to say is thank you to Monica Colby, who sort of heads up that peer review process for Vision 2020 in a collaborative effort with a number of our steering committee partners that help out with the planning of the symposium. So she's graciously said she would do that again for us. And through that, we are now planning for Symposium 7, which may sound like it's a long way away, but folks, 2022 will be here, you know, just in a blink of an eye. So I think that's something that we need to bring forward. So this webinar will help sort of announce that as well. So I'll just pre-announce the fact that call for presentations for Symposium 7 comes out in January of 2021. So our goal here is to give people more time to understand. If they're close, we want to help them over the hump. And the way we're going to do this, something very new this year, is the coaching teams that Vision 2020 will put together. These folks are probably, most of them are legends in the CRR realm, you know, and they're there to sort of help folks get over the hump with their presentations, understand their data a little bit. Our goal is to get better quality presentations into the pipeline. Again, you know, there's, I think last time we had 35 presentations, and we ended up selecting around 20 for the symposium. So it's a fantastic way to get your program recognized, and we encourage everybody to do this. I think it is something that is something you'll remember for your career, being up on stage there at the symposium. So that brings me to the end. How did I do on time here? I'm 1 minute over, but it does allow us to have some great sort of discussion on some of the things I talked about. So if you want, come off mute and we can talk about some of these things. Oop. So, don't all start at once. Anybody want to raise their hand? Rich Palmer's here. I just got off the phone with him about an hour ago.
Hi, it's Emily Powell from Chapel Hill.
Hi, Emily.
Can you, those classes sounded awesome. Can you repeat maybe how to sign up for them or how to host one? I think there was lots of interest in hosting them. Are those already on the books?
If you're interested, there's some of this will be dropping here very shortly, but you can always go to the website and click on contact us, or send me an email directly. Typically, I have Pat Mazzala is the one that sort of coordinates all those classes to try to get them set up. But just let us know sort of what you're interested in, a one-day workshop. If you're more interested in that 2-day DCA, sometimes we couple them together and work to bring really a 3-day class, which gives us some great background before you have that data class.
Steve, Jim Resnick.
Hey, Jim.
How are you, Steve?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so nice to see the faces on here. Hey, the data collection and analysis class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that applicable to all size departments, or the way you're describing being able to turn out an analysis as part of your, the words aren't coming to me. Come on, help me out.
That's okay. I got now. You know,
Your risk assessment.
Turn out a risk assessment.
Do you see that for any size department?
You know, I do. I don't think it's an issue. Typically what we have, you know, there's I think the biggest struggles that we have are with smaller size agencies, or even mid-size, you know, the ones on the upper echelon, the metro size agencies do have obviously more resources to put together. So the issue doesn't resolve, or it resides, you know, in the data that you're looking at. You know, what we're doing there, and I'll break it down. We're looking at the top 3 fire problems in your district. And so the top 3 is going to be the top 3, you know, whatever the data points to. It doesn't matter if, you know, you have, you're protecting 10,000 people or you're protecting 150,000 people. So it's really based off those top 3, you know, fire, EMS, looking at the busy calls, what's keeping you not operationally ready to respond to other kinds of events. You know, if you can sort of look at some of those types of issues, you know, and I just got to add this, with the Symposium, if you look at Pocatello and what they did, they had a model program brought out. I love this program. And Pocatello, I think they're a smaller size agency. I think there's 5 stations there maybe. So it's not huge, but you know, that they looked at an issue with you know, fall calls and lifting assist calls, and were able to literally solve that and reduce their call volume by over 50% to those types of calls. So, you know, those are the pieces that are really neat when you see how they put that together. The risk assessment, and it's a very simple process. And I mean, the cost of this was minuscule. I mean, it really didn't cost a whole heck of a lot. It took 2 years to do, because they had to put people in, they had to make changes to some protocols, some EMS protocols, which is, you just can't do organizationally, right? You need to go to the state to do that. So, but the fact is, yes, the short answer, it'll work with any size agency you put in the class. Well, I'm going to put 9 minutes back in your day. And like I said, if you have any questions about anything, certainly email us. You can, you know, you can email us at my name at strategicfire.org. You know, you can also call. We got a number. You can leave voicemail there. We'll get back with you. So I truly appreciate everyone's time, and hope to hear from the group.